Alright, so we're off to another edition of doing stuff with an 8x8 Argo, which of course has 8 wheels. Now, it might be a little bit noisy because it's kind of windy out here, and I've put this pergola up in the last video, and you'll realise there's a storm front coming through, so I have big long hunks of concrete here to hold it down, and I've roped the centre spars to the Argo itself to stop it blowing away, because I got up this morning and it was trying to take off over to the neighbour's yard. So today we've had a battery show up, and we're going to stop using the deep cycle and put this battery in and install it as designed. So let's get the seats lifted up. Alright, so it is noisy with the angle grinding next door, but you guys will just have to put up with that. Everybody's a bit stir crazy at the moment. And I've switched the microphone to manual mode, so it might sound a little windy. Right. The battery cable's up and out of the way. We'll cart this battery around the other side and put it in. Alright, so my next problem here is the battery strap needs to go through a slot under the battery carrier and back up the top. And I can't get to that from underneath without taking the floor pans out. So that's the next job, which probably involves taking the firewall out. See how we go. Alright, so it does indeed involve taking the firewall out before I can take the floor pan up. And I don't want to do that today. It's too wet and windy, and it was too much of a pain in the ass to get back in last time. So for the time being, because this is not going anywhere until the lockdown's over, and the trailer that hasn't even been, the quote on the trailer that hasn't even been finished yet, and it's also a weekend, so that's going to happen for a while. I'm just going to leave all this back on top of the battery for now. We'll close the lid and we'll see if she fires up. Okay, so the microphone on this GoPro works a little bit like a throat mic. It conducts through the body of the microphone, or through the body of the camera. So I'm not sure how much radiated noise we're going to get. I've got a key here we're going to put in. Now, this is an air-cooled engine. It's a 23 horse engine. It's barely been running. It's only got about 3 hours on the clock at this stage. We're going to give it a little bit of run time and let it warm up. Of course, we're not going anywhere because everything's all attached at the moment. But I do want to start it up to see how this battery goes, and I'll let it come up to temperature and run for a little bit, and try and contribute to its running hours. So let's start by pulling our choke all the way out, because this thing is a little bit, it doesn't like cold starts all that much. Let's see how we go. See, we've got 3.3 hours on the clock. Let's see how we go. Right, we'll give it another crack. A little bit less choke. Keep coming in on the choke. I can smell some fuel now. There we go. I'll leave it on the choke for a moment, and then we'll pull her in a bit. With a bit more choke. Just till it starts to warm up a bit, and then we'll see how we go. Shut the choke down a bit and let it come back to normal idle. That sounds a bit better. I'll let this run for a little bit, let it warm up. Not looking too bad. It says battery there. I'm not sure if the battery means battery low or what that is. I might end up putting a voltmeter on this. I've got 2 extra slots in here, and one's going to be for bilge pump. The other one might end up being a voltmeter. But yeah, we'll let this run for a bit. Now, it's had a bit of a chance to warm up a little bit, and the idle is leveling out. I might give this a bit of a rev just for you guys that like the sound of engines. It's a V-twin. I think it's a 620cc or somewhere about that, or 630cc. But yeah, not too bad. Got a stainless exhaust on it even. This is air intake on this side. As a fan blows it through, comes up through the engine bay and out these vents, and the heat shield and exhaust is of course around that vent. I'm not sure how handy cup holders are going to be. They're a smidgen too small for these, but it'll be handy for something. I just felt a drop of rain coming through underneath all of this. I'm not sure if it's blowing in under the sides or whether it's coming through the top, but in any case, I've got to put the sides up on this, but a windy day like today is not the day to do that. But anyway, we're going to shut this down. My apprentice will be getting nervous. Alright, so I've switched over to the wind mode. I'm hoping I don't lose this because the real heavy wind has started. So I'm going to come out and see if I can tie everything down and stabilize it a bit. But I might be about to lose a leg off this. Got to straighten up all the legs here and probably peg them down a bit. And I think my ropes have got loose. I think the thing's walking towards the wall. So we might be going to lose it, but we'll see how we go. I've got to put my hands down now. All right, I think I'm going to call it quits for this episode. Not much else I can do at the moment. At least it's staying mostly dry anyway. I hope there's something left by the end of the day, but we've got stronger winds coming as the storm front hits. So I've got my camper trailer up in the front yard and it's currently getting full of water too because there's a rubber seal that's gone. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting day. I'll see you all in the next one, and we'll have another more in-depth episode of Argo Adventures soon.